So here's the thing. Lots of people have stuff going on, July being the driest month of the year. And what happened a week before last Saturday? I'm sure a lot of people had a lot of stuff planned, and then it rained. And not just like, okay, a little bit of rain or whatever, but it was also thunder and lightning, so affecting pool parties, affecting things. Did you have a contingency plan, or did you have to cancel outright? Now, that being said, this is the precursor to what might be considered a very, very, very wet upcoming season, especially fall and winter of 2015 into 2016. What is your contingency plan? Usually Southern California is nice in the days and even in the evenings through your November-ish times. Here to talk about that from Simply Tailored again, or event planning again, is Taylor Ellingsworth. Good morning.
Good morning, George. How are you?
I am wonderful. So this is a thing, like a lot of people were caught by surprise, right?
Right. I mean, we live in California. It's perpetually sunny all the time. When you go shopping for your clothes, you always go to like the summer or spring section. You don't ever go to like the winter and fall for like raincoats and stuff like that. So especially in July, I mean, we're having 100-degree temperatures, and then all of a sudden you have all this rain. It's just, it came out of nowhere. So,
and it wasn't a little rain. It was there's no way you could be out in it.
Yeah. So for my part, as an event planner, like it's, it kind of really resonated with me because I actually have a couple events in November that we actually had to sit down and have meetings because it's just, well, guys, what's the contingency plan? Because it might rain. So with regards to parking and people walking and that kind of thing, we need to make sure that they're not getting poured on as they're heading into the building to actually start the party.
Exactly.
So that kind of brought the topic fresh into my mind of preparing for the unexpected for your event, which is something as an event planner I always have to do, is always have a plan B and possibly even a plan C. And it's nothing that the hosts ever really have to worry about other than me making it work for their budgets. But it's really important that I have these in the back of my mind and actually in my back pocket, so that if, for instance, I'm there, not just the weather, but also, let's just say the DJ doesn't show up because he got stuck in traffic down in Orange County because he had a gig down in Orange County, and he's coming up for the evening, and he doesn't show up in Ventura. So, I have to get out my emergency contact list and make some calls and do things like that. And if I have a plan B or C, where, I have people kind of in my back pocket where I can be like, okay, I have an emergency, I really need help, can you get over here? Then that's obviously the optimal choice.
Right.
So it's planning for the unexpected, and that's kind of something that is not just recommended for me. It's something that I have to do in all the events that I do because it's just really important to make my clients happy, make the guests happy, and make sure that the event goes off without a hitch.
Right, because there's nothing worse than having a party host having to apologize for something that didn't take place. You talk about the DJ showing up late, or something happened with the caterer, the cake fell in the oven or something like that, whatever it is. And so that's really important. So what are some of the things when we talk about making a plan? Are we talking about trying to encompass everything, or are there certain highlights or certain things we definitely have to have in the back of our mind?
And definitely in the back of your mind, you should always consider the weather. You should look at the forecast. You should always consider what the rentals would be if you were doing an outside. If you're doing an inside event, you're kind of safe because if it rains, you're inside. If you're doing an outdoor event, you should probably have all the phone numbers with you for rental companies, for tenting and things like that, and maybe even make a couple calls beforehand to kind of make sure that tents are available in case you need them, which hopefully you won't. But so besides that, there's making sure you have an emergency contact list, making sure that you have people that are a part of your setup crew, making sure you have backups to them. Because volunteers sometimes, if it's a volunteer situation, they get sick. Or they have kids and their kids might get sick. So you need to make sure that you have backups to that on emergency contact list that you have with you. Don't just walk into an event without a list and 5 people don't show up and you need massive help. And then you don't have anyone to turn to. So it's really good to have in your back pocket people that you can call to come in and help you. With regards to other things for food and beverage, you're going to have guests show up that didn't RSVP. That always happens It's not. It's people have busy lives. They think they RSVP to stuff, and then they don't. And it's okay. Like, that's totally fine. We want guests to show up, but obviously that throws off food and beverage counts. So I always tell everybody, round up, don't round down. People that are supplying the food and beverage, typically they know that guests are going to show up that don't RSVP. So the standard is about 6-ounce portions per guest. And so if you round up, and maybe even add 2 or 3, if you're have a huge list of people that you're inviting, and there are a lot of RSVPs that don't RSVP, then maybe add about 2 to 5 extra guest count when you're rounding up, pending on the guest list on how many people there are to account for food and beverage. And then the other thing is just communication with your clients or with the people that you're working with to make sure that it's really spelled out on the setup. Who's doing what? You don't want there's a lot of instances where miscommunication happens, and to avoid the unexpected, not just to prepare for it,
arrival
to avoid
times,
it,
etc. You make sure everybody knows when they got to show up.
Communication's there.
And that's true. You talk about food and drink and beverage. Always better to have more than not enough,
right?
Because that means leftovers, or sending someone home with some stuff or whatever is much better than running out. Definitely. So these are very exciting. And of course, there are more tips and more things to do. And if you want to hire a professional to handle these things, so you aren't apologizing on behalf of your guests for not planning correctly, or you aren't running around because people haven't shown up and you can't be the proper party host, or you want to make sure that you are having the ultimate party, of course, is to contact Taylor. SimplyTailored.com is the website. And what is your phone number, Taylor?
818-253-4095.
Outstanding. Always a pleasure having you come in and talk to me. I always feel like, okay, now I want to throw a party. So thanks so much for stopping by.